Hi there, my name is Kendrick and welcome to another ENFP Male interview. Today I get to interview Edwin, so welcome, man.
Hello.
So Edwin, can you give us what your full type is?
Okay, so I'm a jumper ENFP and it's double feminine, NETE, play, consume, blast, sleep.
When you got your typing results back, what did you think and how did you feel?
So should I give my typing journey kind of thing?
Well, sure, yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. So I always got in 16 personality stupid bullshit tests. I always got ENFP, NEFP every bloody time. And then so when I got into ops, I was kind of I have a lot of kind of consume first ENFP friends, at least I think so in my kind of typing head. And I could kind of see differences between me and them. And so I kind of, when I got into ops, I quite quickly worked out I was probably NETE, and I could just see the contrast between myself and the standard ENFP. So by the time I went around to being typed, I was 1 year I'd been doing it for over into ops. And then I kind of was I'm this type. I was literally got the exact same type I was typed as Dave and Shan, except I thought I was visual instead of double feminine. And to be honest, I'm still a bit, I don't really see the masculine FI at all, to be honest, but I don't know. Yeah, that's what they type me as, right?
Yeah, but I also don't see the masculine TE, so.
True.
So it's
maybe.
Yeah. All right. That's cool that you got the almost exact same type, except that you thought you were visual. It's kind of interesting though that there's nobody that's been officially typed as a visual ENFP.
Really?
Yeah, not even standard or jumper. There's none. It doesn't exist.
Oh, really?
Even in their docs, they don't have a single FM.
Do they not?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why. I'm still waiting to interview an FM ENFP, but I have it because they're what do you call it? They're it's like the rare Pokemon, you can't find them.
Weirdos, yeah.
Yeah, the weirdos, yeah, the freaks. I'm just kidding. But so it's kind of interesting. We're kind of similar. We're both NETE, except you're visual. So why don't we start with your sexual modalities first? So you're tester and visual. Tester is an interesting one. So let's start with the visual first. Talk about being visual, how you see everything visually and how you learn visually.
Well, yeah, that's one of those weird things. I thought everyone was like that, to be honest. And I was thinking about this the other day, even when, one of your friends moves into a new house or something, I always have this really clear picture in my mind, exactly what the house looks like the layout, the orientation, the positioning in the city, the east-west kind of axis kind of thing. And so, and then I would actually go there and I'd be completely surprised it was completely different to how I pictured it. But there was just always this this very kind of clear picture in my mind of what it would look like. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but but it's just very clear to me, whenever anyone talks, I have to picture what they're saying for it to really stay in my mind completely. In terms of tester, I don't really know. I know, in Pizza Hut, when you were sorry, a big jump there, but in Pizza Hut, they had that salad bar. I was one of those kids that would put every single thing that you could possibly fit in the salad bowl, because it was do it yourself kind of thing. And then I suppose that's kind of a bit of a tester thing, no? Just wanting to try all sorts of shit,
Yeah, my girlfriend does that. I hate doing that shit. I just take
what I would never eat it.
Oh, you won't eat it. You'll just
I would have a few bites and it would be disgusting, and then I'd be no, never again.
Well, you said you won't eat it, but you did. You took a few bites, so you did eat it.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't eat the whole thing. I'd fucking fill the bowl all the way up,
yeah.
it was
you tried it. The point is you tried it because a tester likes to try things, right?
But these days, I don't really see myself trying much things because I'm too broke to do that most of the time. I just want to stick to what I know I'll like, because it'll save me more money than wasting a whole, all the money for a meal and then not enjoying it. So I just stick to what I actually like.
But if you weren't broke, you would still do that though, right?
I don't know. I'm kind of I don't know, environment, I don't waste. So I don't really want to waste stuff. So if I'm gonna not eat my food, I'm just thinking about, kids in Africa and stuff like that.
I see. Okay. Um, the weird thing with tester is I was thinking about it because if you look at like the other sexual modalities, they're all senses, right? So why is it called tester? Why is it not smell? So like
Smeller.
yeah,
That
still,
doesn't sound nice, does it?
no, it doesn't. Yeah, but smell and taste are like the same, right? Like if you cover your nose, you can't really taste the food. So,
True,
um,
true.
how good is your sense of taste and smell? I guess you could say, like how, like, do you have a sensitive? Are you sensitive to that stuff?
I don't really notice it so much now, but when I was younger, like I noticed that I was like, my parents would always say I could smell like someone's BO or something quite far away, like, that kind of thing.
That's funny. I can smell
And,
your
I
shit
don't,
from a mile
I
away.
give the, or like I'm like a, I can tell if your gas is leaking. Very good for safety.
Yeah, can you smell that carbon monoxide? Save someone's life.
I that's odorless, no?
Yeah, I guess not. Maybe I was just thinking maybe the testers can.
Maybe
Yeah,
superpower, right?
yeah, exactly. All right, cool. So why don't we go through your functions right now? The interesting thing about you as double feminine is you have masculine NE. So how do you personally experience masculine NE?
Oh fuck, how do I not experience it is the question. Like I'm always like, whenever I have a conversation with someone, I'm always trying to complete their sentences. And like, because I just, especially if they're giving me like too much sensory, I'm just like, yeah, so you mean this, that kind of thing. And then, and often I'm wrong about it, which is quite funny. And then, but it doesn't stop me trying the next time they talk. You know what I mean? It just doesn't give up, right? And what else? I'm pretty neurotic, definitely.
What do you mean neurotic?
Just like well, have lots of neuroses. I don't know how else to put it. Like I just think like these weird things are like playing in like these weird scenarios or something is actually going to happen. Like just very briefly, like I'm in control of it a bit more now. I'm older, but like I'll just think like, oh, there's a crack on the wall that the whole house is going to fall down or something. Like they said, like the jumping to conclusions thing is,
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if that Q&A they made was because of my typing video, partially at least.
Yeah.
The time frame kind of fits in. And also, what else? I don't know. I lost it.
Yeah, that NE is kind of crazy because I remember interviewing this ISFJ who said that she would imagine acid rain coming from the sky.
Oh yeah.
So like
that,
NE is like, like SE chaos is like, I think Dave talked about like a plane crashing into his house. So that's more like SE, but NE is kind of like crazy shit like that you could just imagine, Like for me, sometimes I'm playing video games and I look outside the window and I think, oh my God, there's a demon looking at me, I'm like, so.
Oh,
Like
yeah. I used to always think like when I was younger, like I wouldn't like to be like near a window like this because I would think like, red dots gonna appear in my head. I'm gonna get shot through the window by like a sniper,
really?
that kind of thing. I mean, when I was younger, like I probably didn't really like have the best like upbringing. So like
Yeah.
my saviors were on crack basically. So like there was no balance in my personality. There's not really much now, but I was even worse before.
You're
And
right.
like I had these delusional kind of beliefs at some points. Like at one point I thought my neighbors were serial killers and they had kidnapped my sister and she was being raped and murdered right now. And then I ended up like running to her friend's place, which is where I thought she was staying before she got abducted, some shit in my head. And I just woke her up basically. And then I had like a few other kind of very bad like delusional beliefs, like I literally had like a psychotic episode because of a big one. It's like it's pretty bad. Like I was nearly sectioned, so yeah.
Oh my God, dude, that masculine NE sounds fucking nuts.
I don't know. I don't think I'm a good example. Like
you're the perfect example. Like,
no, I am like a good example of masculine NE, but like I don't think I'm good. Like I'm not a positive example of it. You know what I mean? There are good things about it. Like I always feel like I know what's going on. Like people don't have to tell me what's going on. I just know. You know what I mean? Like, don't bother telling me. Like you're gonna ruin my story. I know. Shut up. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Dude, you were like, okay, so you're double activated play, right?
Yes, yeah.
You kind of come across as play blast for some reason.
I know. I thought I might be play blast because I'm like pretty extroverted. Like I can just talk and talk and talk and talk. And I kind of feel like I overwhelm people quite a lot. That's why I thought like visual, because I thought like double masculine saviors would be accurate because I'm just like a bit imbalanced and crazy. But you know.
Well, I don't feel the MDE from you. Like
Yeah.
I did a panel interview yesterday with a bunch of MDEs, and they definitely did it to me. But you're definitely extroverted to hell. And so did they explain how they came across with play consume as opposed to play blast? Because you feel like play blast to me, so I'm like kind of confused.
No, they don't give anything anymore. It's just an email now.
Right. Okay, that sucks. Okay.
I mean, I think in the video I seemed like very subdued actually, because I basically been furloughed for like a year and a half. So like I kind of have just been like processing a lot of things the whole time. So I feel like everything I said in the video was like accurate, but like just the way I said it was like a lot more, you know, calm and like reflective, you know, that kind of thing. But when I'm actually with people like, and I have someone to bounce off of, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. You feel more extroverted than I am, and I'm the play blast in this conversation.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. I'm just thinking it's.
I don't know why I'm apologizing. Just being DE, right?
Right. Fair enough. Did you feel like you had masculine DE perhaps because your first, or because your consume is double masculine? Like you have masculine NE and FI, so it's like.
No, it's more like the being scared of the tribe kind of thing. I completely related to.
Okay.
Like I feel like this sounds silly, but like when I'm on my own and I've had like enough time like not being around people, I feel like a kind of gentle little soul that's on myself, and like I want to like be in my room and have all the doors locked because I feel very vulnerable.
I see.
And then I feel like almost like when I kind of get dressed like to go somewhere, I feel like I'm kind of like building and amping myself up, and then when I come out I'm like very defensive, and I find I do think I'm quite a snappy kind of person. Like I snap at people quite a lot. I don't really see like the cat energy kind of thing coming out. Yeah, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. Like the modalities don't matter too much, and they got my type like spot on. I was really impressed because I had like a few other people like try and type me, and they were all giving me like, one of them was like sleep consume, and I was like, what the
my God, that's so bad.
am I gonna get that? And I was thinking I'm gonna get that because I was so convinced I was this type, and obviously I was very close, so I was right. I'm glad I was right, but I was thinking like whilst I was waiting for my type back, I was going to be some way off thing,
like an IJ or something.
Like I was typed sleep consume. I was typed. So many of them typed me audio. Like what the fuck? I'm like so bad with the sensory. There's no way I'm audio. But like, yeah. Anyway, where was I going?
Yeah. Well, you flew out in any land for sure.
Oh yeah.
Let's go back to masculine NE. So masculine NE. There's two parts to it. So I want to ask you about the two parts. Okay. So the first part is gathering patterns and concepts. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the first part. And second one is because it's masculine NE, it's memory with patterns and concepts. So talk about the first part and then the second part.
So concepts and what was the first part? Sorry.
Patterns.
Okay. Oof. I don't know. It's quite hard because I just do it by default, right? Like,
yeah.
Like I suppose. I kind of don't really see like the anymore, just how bad I am with the sensory. You know what I mean? Like I just see how much I just do not seem to give a fuck about it in a like how I am naturally. Obviously, I try and work on it. You know, I don't want to be like fixed mindset or anything, but like I kind of see like just how naturally I just do not pay attention to details. I like, oh my God, like I remember once I was having this conversation with this colleague at work, and I was like, I don't know, I was just like ranting about something about with my colleagues or something. And then he was like, it was near Christmas time. He was like, oh, it's a nice tree in here. And I was like, what tree? and then I was like sitting right beside like a gigantic Christmas tree, and I was in that room the whole day. I didn't even notice it was there, that kind of thing. In terms of concepts and everything, yeah, I do think I am like, for me, it's like, I kind of need the concept to lock onto something. Like, I'm not gonna, I work in hospitality, right? So like, there's so many kind of like managers that are like masculine SI, they like go to you, this table's here, this table's here, this table's here, this table, this is what we have in the menu, this, like they expect, and because they remember stuff like line by line, sensory, like they tell it to you once and they just expect, oh, I'm just gonna pick it up, right? And like, for me, it takes a lot longer. Like I have to see like, what's the pattern with like the table numbering. And then each time I know the pattern, I can just go like 1, 2, 3, oh, one is where the door is. And then, you know, that kind of thing. I don't know if that really answers your question. So DE, right? Like
it kind of did.
Am I pleasing you?
When you're like, you know, reading books or listen to audiobooks or like watching YouTube videos, and you learn, like, let's say you're watching some INTJ give you lessons, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a good memory on what you've learned? Like if they're conceptual, like they're abstract ideas, not like sensory, but abstract ideas.
I think so, yeah. Like like I got into ops, like, and I feel like I understood it like very quickly. I don't mean to brag or anything, but like I just kind of, like I didn't know the details, I didn't know everything, but like I just knew, I felt like I knew the concept, and it just kind of locked in. Like I didn't really, you know, the details I'll learn about it later, but I kind of knew what they were doing, knew what they're getting at. They didn't have to explain it to me too much. I kind of just put the pieces together. And I see a lot of people who've been in the community for a while, they seem to be still struggling with some things. And no offense to them, but it's like, I'm just surprised, because for me, it just kind of happens quite quickly. That sounds really arrogant, but I mean, I never really had any issues like learning things in school or anything. And like, definitely the visual kind of thing came out, like just reading a textbook, it would be like, I'd picture like exactly how the textbook looked, like the layout, nothing too, quite vague, don't get me wrong, but like, just like the shape of the pictures, the colors on the textbook. And then I would like know that is about that subject when I go back to it and read it, from just looking at the visual layout of the page, that kind of thing.
Maybe that's where the savior consume is coming from, because of the rapid learning ability, you know?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I do have quite a big consume pile as well. So yeah, I wouldn't say, I'm not like one of these crazy people like going out in the world and bossing people around and stuff like that. Like maybe the blasters are more, you know, bossy.
Yeah, controlling.
Yeah, there's nothing controlling about me.
Yeah, I've been accused of by people that I'm controlling, so it could be the play blast.
I feel like I'm quite like, I'm a bit controlling in the moment, but like there's no long-term controlling. Like if I'm doing something with someone and they're doing something in a stupid way or something, like I'll be like, what are you doing? And then like, it will seem controlling in that present time because I'm like kind of pushing them to do something my way. But
right.
Like, I'm not gonna like plan someone's life. I'm not gonna have some big plan for what they should do. I'm not gonna do that for myself most of the time in a natural state.
Right.
So that's where I would say I saw the consume out. And like, I am like a big kind of film buff, music buff, like spend a lot of time kind of consuming, but you know, like the play consume blast is still pretty extroverted, you know?
Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know, man. Maybe your version because of the masculine NE perhaps.
Yeah.
Because I have interviewed other play consumes and they seem not as, you know, extroverted.
Maybe if they're deciders, they're a bit more awkward because they don't want to offend anyone. Whereas I'm kind of like, I want to be like a positive force in the world and the community and everything, but at the same time, like I have a limit. I don't really care that much about offending people about the small things. So like, there's not much of a gap between me thinking something and saying it. Whereas maybe the decider ones are a bit more like, I don't know what to say.
No,
you know?
I mean the other NETs that I've interviewed.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. You try to fill in the gaps already with your mask.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. See, I do that a lot. Like I have no issue just brazenly guessing. But like, I'm perfectly okay with being wrong. Like I'll be like, it's fine. Like like if someone shows me I'm wrong, I'm just like, okay, fine, next guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. No, I like you're definitely one of the best masculine any examples.
And I did think I was demon consumed because I just don't find I'm very good at listening to people. Is that bad, right? But like I just like if I kind of have like put it together in my head. Like it's probably because like if people are just giving me too much sensory, then I just kind of zone out. Like just like that's why. It's not necessarily because of the consume demon.
I wonder if like the reason why you're not play blast is you don't have any ST reports at all. Like I haven't really heard you say much ST report, you know, like that could be it. Like everything you're saying is intuitive, like you know, so
yeah.
You are doing that anecdote where like
drinking,
talking, you're drinking, yeah. So it's like
it's also because I talk so much, like I kind of my mouth gets dry, right? You know,
yeah,
I am listening. I am listening. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's like you're okay. So that's so funny.
I know. I realized I was whilst I was doing it, but
yeah.
I did it in the other interviews as well. I watched it back, but I just like to be hydrated, right? You know, it's good. It's good. Good health,
good for you.
right?
No, of course. All right. So let's go over your masculine FI. Talk about your value system. Like, what do you value? Can you tell me what your top 5 values are?
No, I see. This is what I don't get because I don't really feel like I'm very in touch with my values. Like I know, like I think if I see an example of something that I think is wrong and bad, like I will know it in the time. But like in terms of knowing my values very clearly,
okay, let me give you some example. I think you know it. I think you just haven't thought about it because you're
yeah. I probably haven't like written it down or anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also because you're sleep last, so that could be it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So my top 5 values is freedom, obviously EP, growth, courage, honesty, and authenticity. So those are my top 5 values. So do you have something like similar to that? Like maybe you haven't processed it.
Does it have to be one word, or can it be like?
Well, yeah, they're usually one word. Yeah.
Underdog. That's one word.
Okay, sure, that's a good one.
But it's not really underdog because I say like I like always champion the underdog, the people who are disadvantaged, that kind of thing. Oh, demons, right?
Well, it could be the feminine SI also. Like you can't solidify the word, you know.
Of course, yeah.
You probably have to write it down to be honest to make it solid.
Probably, yeah. I am one of those people that writes a lot of stuff down because otherwise, whoosh, you know, out of my head.
Right.
I'd have to write it down to know. Again, I'm probably not that far on my growth journey that I even got down to this part. You know what I mean?
Right. All right, it's all good. Let's go with the TE, double activated feminine TE. Like you are very flexible with people, I'm guessing.
No, I never thought I was. No. Again, like long term, I am flexible, but like I just find I think, I'm not going to argue with people unless there's a point to it. You know what I mean? I try and avoid arguing unless there's a point to it. But in terms of, I don't really see me being that flexible. If someone's doing something stupid, it's like hard for me not to say something, and I try and say it in a nice way. So I suppose that's it.
Yeah.
If like, no.
let's go over your feminine SI.
I'm very like, I relate to all the kind of NT like puzzling things and like wanting everything to like make sense and add up in my head. And I definitely relate to like the play kind of like, I'm always like annoying people to like make it work for me and in my head, and it like everything to make sense the way I believe it should make sense.
Right.
I definitely can see myself like often like bugging people to kind of like get them on board with what I think should happen. Like I'm always like, I hear so often like you're asking too many questions. Like a lot of people have told me, like even today, someone actually said I was asking too many questions.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like I just have no patience for things not working. So like I want to like get to the bottom of it like now. So like I'm just asking like, what's this? How do we do this? Why are we doing this? Why are you doing that? That takes too long. Come on, let's do it this way. That kind of thing. Just like kind of fire hose of annoying questions. And I've actually had some like real grief from like people in, you know, my job and stuff, like chefs and stuff like that, getting really annoyed because I ask too many questions. But it's like, if I kind of see that like something's going to go wrong, like it's a sinking ship, I feel like I need to like bug people for the information so we can like make this thing like run better and everything will be fixed. You know, that's kind of how I am in a default state. But, you know, like I have kind of these days trying to like stop bothering people so much with the bloody questions, because sometimes it's just counterproductive, and it's like they're like I'm distracting them from what they're doing because I'm asking so many questions, and as a result neither of us are doing anything. You know, it can be a kind of stalemate, and sometimes I think it's a better way is just to kind of like both have your own task, and then you can both do what the task 100% rather than like both people doing one task 50%. You know what I mean? So it's like establish the tasks and then we go and work on it ourselves and occasionally bug each other in between, you know?
So with the NT play, you like to problem solve with people? Like that's your
Yes.
like,
Oh my God, yes.
and you enjoy that then? It's like trying to solve a problem with others and whatnot?
Oh yeah, but like the any part of it is like kind of like I kind of like to be around people who are a bit more ST, because it's like I like the way I solve a problem is sometimes a bit too like extreme of a jump, and I'm trying to solve something too far that's not even going to happen, or is like too far in the future. You know what I mean? Like I prefer someone who grounds me. But if I'm with another kind of NT, it can sometimes be a bit too much blah 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 blah, and we're just kind of like, it's like fueling each other's craziness almost. You know what I mean?
So you're
So like
saying
I have this one colleague who's like masculine SI, like ISFJ, and I just loved working with her because it was like we kind of made up for each other's weaknesses, because she couldn't really see what was going on, and I was like, yeah, this is what's happening, and she would get to the same conclusion as me eventually, but she would need like a shit ton of sensory. And then obviously sometimes I would be completely wrong, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I am right, and like it just takes her a lot longer to get there, and then she kind of like backs it up. Like I'm like the barrister and she's the lawyer who works behind the scenes, who compiles all the facts. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
right. All right, so I guess what you're saying is you are good at brainstorming the ideas to solve the problem, but when it comes to making it a reality, you're not that guy. You know, like someone else will.
Yeah.
That's why you like to work with the sensors, because, or the SI person, because they'll take your idea and make it real. You know.
I mean, if they're nice with it, like I don't like to be with the sensors who are just like always like laughing at me because I miss all these things. Like then it can be like, then I get really annoyed. But like if then it's like toxic, you know. But if I'm with a sensor who's like positive and like wants to, like we want to mutually gain from each other, then I think it's good.
Your blast is double feminine, so it's gonna be very, what do you call it? Like I think Dave called it a fart gas. Like it does, like it doesn't. It's like, like so, but it's ST, so it's like facts, right? But it's double feminine. So, but you have it third, and it's balanced with the consume. So you're balanced with the information. You know, you're info dominant, right? So talk about when you do use blast to give people like the facts, the very specific instruction. What does that look like, and how do you organize your facts to teach to the tribe?
Well, I do see that like when I get around to blasting, which, you know, is not that often, I'll be honest, but like when I do get around to doing it, it's very much in a kind of detailed sensory way. Like I like the any fucks off for a bit when sorry if I don't want to swear, or
You can swear as much as you want. It's fine.
Okay. The any kind of fucks off for a bit, and like I just want to like deal with what's happening now and the actual facts of like how to do something. I did find like when I did a job where I had to blast, kind of like I had to train someone, like I feel like I kind of seesaw from giving too little details to too many. Like it's not very balanced because I'm an EP, right? EP with NE first. So like I would give like, I kind of go from being like not caring about details to then being crazy about details about this one specific thing. And then I was trying to kind of teach her, and I feel like I was completely overwhelming her with like, you need to clean the thing this way so the crumbs don't fall off, and then you clean the bit that the crumbs have fallen onto. And then she was like, what's going on? Like, which I was just being like too much of like a kind of ESTJ about it, like a class MBTI ones. But I don't know, like I do find like I can blast if I have to, but like most of the time I just don't really feel like it's something I don't feel responsible to tell anyone what to do. A lot of the time I'm like, if I had like a lot of managers say to me like, you need to be the leader in this, and I'll be like, oh God, I have to be the leader, like. And then I kind of would do it, but like it's just not something I feel comfortable with doing for too long, and not something I feel very good at either. I just feel like my instructions are not clear enough. So I can see that it's a demon from that perspective, you know what I mean?
Right.
Wishy-washy, I suppose, if it's wishy-washy, I don't want, like, I don't like to be an asshole. So like, I don't want to be too pushy with people, but like, yeah, so I don't know. I don't know apart from that. Oh, wait, I can't hear you. What
Yeah.
happened?
No, it's
Oh,
it's fine. No, it was me. I accidentally hit the mute button. But
oh, lol.
you are tribe above self. So talk about like, putting people before yourself.
Oh God, oh God. That's a big problem in my life, yeah. And like so many times I've put myself in situations where like I'm helping people, like I feel obligated to help people. And then like, I've been like doing it all day, and it's like taking me away from like my FI essentially. And I start getting very like resentful towards this person. And I'm like, and I start like badgering them because I just want to get the thing that we're doing done ASAP. So like when I see them like messing around or doing something in like a slow way, like I start like berate them kind of. And then like I can see I'm doing that because like I'm being taken away from my FI, and I feel obligated to be in this situation. And when things aren't working properly, like in this situation that I'm helping them for, I'm starting to like get annoyed at that it's happening and that I'm not doing what I want. And it just turns toxic real quick. So like something I've tried to do like as I get older is just like not feel like I have to help people ASAP, like not feel like this friend who has nowhere else to stay can stay at my place for as long as they want. They can stay 1 or 2 days, and then they're gonna have to find somewhere else. They can get an Airbnb or something, because I don't want to be in this situation where I'm like being a dickhead to someone, because I'm not doing what I want to do with my life, and I'm blaming them for it. It happens a lot, even with my parents, like quite often. Like my mum is like pretty useless with like kind of technology, typical boomer and anything. So every time she has any technological problems, she asks me to come round. And then she's like an IP, I think, like an INFP. And she wants me to do the TE for her all day. And then I'm like, I just drop everything that I wanted to do that day to help people quite often. And I'm just like killing myself with them. And then like, I feel resentful because I'm not getting it back. Like when I need help at some point in life, they're not doing the same for me.
Right.
But like, I just like, I don't know. I just look outside of myself. I don't look at myself. I'm like, I want this to work basically. I know I'm sounding so cliche, but like, I want the thing to work well for them and their life to be easier. And like, I don't see anyone else doing that. So I feel the need to facilitate it and try and be like a positive citizen or whatever. And then, but like, whilst I'm doing that, I'm just getting so annoyed with like the fact that things aren't working the way they should. It's taking too long. And I just get super impatient and asshole-ish. And so I just think like, it's actually, I'm not helping when I'm like that. So I should just not do it basically. Do you have similar problems?
Oh yeah, dude. The whole pandemic was me trying to figure out how I was gonna set boundaries with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I came up with a system now, which I think has been working. So I'll give a few examples. So I have a friend, he's this
Yeah.
Russian guy, and I think he's an ISTP. He looks like one of the people I interviewed, and he like fucks all me and my friends over all the time. Like he won't show up to, we'll make a plan with him, and if something better comes up for him, he'll like just not show up and without telling anyone.
Oh God.
He's
I'm
super.
guessing is he blast last?
I probably think I'm starting to think he's last now.
Not
And then,
telling the tribe what they're doing is usually
yeah,
quite a good thing.
or like when we were kids, we used to go to like all you can eat sushi, and then like when you're an idiot kid, you like order too much, and then you have to pay if you don't eat all the food, and then he'll go to the front, pay for his food, and run away so that he doesn't have to pay for like the stuff that he didn't eat. He's like
Oh, what the
he's,
fuck?
he's a fucking douche, yeah. But
Like, yeah, that you can see what you are from what you get annoyed by. Like,
yeah.
I moved to a place recently.
Yeah.
I've moved to a new place now, but the place I moved to last, like, there was this guy, like there was like not enough fridge space. Basically, there was like one big fridge and then a small fridge, and I like had one shelf. It was like a flat share, right? I had one shelf in the big fridge. Right. I was like, this isn't enough. Like, why is there another fridge there? And this one guy has all three. And he said, oh, it's his. He says it's his. So I just thought, okay, in my mind, I thought, oh, so he bought it. What I found out later was that he just took over the fridge when people successively moved out, and now is claiming that fridge as his own, but it's actually a communal fridge, right?
Oh shit.
So I was just like, oh my God, it was really making me annoyed. Like, you know, the fairsies thing, like that's a big thing in my life. And when I got into ops, like with the whole kind of, when they would talk about fairsies, I was like, I don't know exactly what my type is, but fairsies is something I am very concerned with, and that is me for sure. And so I was sure that I was DE from that point. And like, you know, I knew I had ENFP functions, and I was crazy about fairsies. I must be like ENFP or TENE or something like that.
Right.
Because like, and I had to go to all of my friends, like, should I confront this guy about this? Because this is ridiculous. And then they were all like FI, and they were like, oh, are you bothered? Do you need the space? Do you personally need the space? I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter if I need it or not. It's like, he's taking too much, and that's unfair. And I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. In the end, like, I moved out, so I didn't have to.
You avoid a confrontation, but yeah, with my friend, that asshole. So what we did was the superpower of the high play is you can use a tribe to outcast someone. So
oh God, yeah.
So we universally put a 1-year ban on him, and now he's like trying to bribe us to take him back because so I bought a PlayStation 5, right? So he wants to play PlayStation 5 with me and my friends now, and he's like, I'll pay for half your cruise ticket, and we can all play PlayStation 5 together. I'm like, the 1-year ban stands, you know, like, so like I'm trying to hold on to the ground, like the boundaries, because like for us with Sleep Last, we don't set boundaries properly. But
I feel sorry, I don't want to interrupt. Sorry.
Okay. Well, let me finish the spiel and then you can your thing. So for me, because I cut off a friend before, like I cut off 2 friends before, like one of them permanently, and one of them. So the one I cut off permanently, he was making me feel bad. He was saying a lot of shit to me. Like I was trying to pursue my passion, which is I love travel and I love the personality stuff. So I have 2 YouTube channels, and he used to mock me all the time, saying, "Oh, you're fucking stupid. Why don't you just sell t-shirts?" You know, I'm like, you know, for me, you know, so I'm like, my FI is already like the demon, right? So I'm really working on like pursuing my passion, and for him to say that, for me, it was like, oh, you know, what a douche, you know.
Yeah.
And my FE friend said, who cares? Just ignore him. I'm like, I can't. It's FI. It's not FE. It's not like the emotion comes out, and I don't think, you know, you don't think it's not there anymore, right? With FI, you know, you hold on to that like negative emotion for like a while, right? It festers. So for me, when I cut him off, I told him, you know, we're not friends anymore. You're a dumbass. And I blocked him. He went fucking batshit crazy, right? Trying to like bribe me to go talk to him.
Wow.
He's a blaster too, so he was like gonna lecture me how like I was wrong about him being the bad guy in the story, but whatever. So I didn't even bother. I just like blocked out.
That's extreme.
But then I did that to another friend too, who was also like screwing me over time wise. Like he would like not communicate. even though he was a blaster, he wouldn't communicate. He'll just disappear all of a sudden, or he'll like flake. So we had a mutual cutoff where I cut him off and he cut me off too. But when I did that, I felt so horrible. Like I felt so sad. It was like the worst feeling. Like I realized I'm like, oh my god, this person, even though he's like retarded, like I treasure my friendship with him. I really treasured it, and I just felt horrible. So a year later, I even all the branch to come to my birthday party, and he came by, and he was like a little bit nervous when he came by. But I think we felt mutually that we were friends, and yeah, we'll be friends again, but we have to figure things out. So now what I now know is like this guy, he's toxic, even though I love him as a friend. So I'll see him 3 or 4 times a year max, and that's it. Because like it's like, so I'm trying to put parameters now with friends. So even if I like them a lot and I treasure their friendship, if they're stupid or they're toxic, I put like a, because like for us with play, we can go overboard with that shit, right? Like we could just hang out with people all day or like every week. But sometimes that's not good for us, and sometimes we do feel resentful when that happens. So
you see how the toxicity kind of seeps into your character. Like something I've had problems with people, if I'm around toxic people, I see myself turning toxic, and I'm just like, I'm absorbing people's bullshit too much, and I kind of distance myself from people who I see bring out a bad side in me. You know what I mean?
I think that NEFI is kind of, it's like a superpower, but it's also bad because you do absorb people's character, and and it does, especially for us, we're sleek glass, so it doesn't get processed properly, so it just festers and we get poisoned from within, which is super dangerous. So that's kind of what I had processed over the pandemic, is like, okay, parameters are important, and I have to enforce those parameters on myself. Like many times, that douchebag friend who ran away from the sushi place, I do want to play PlayStation 5 with him, but he's a douche. So I'll put parameters where I ban him for 1 year, but I'll go hang out with other friends. They might not be as fun, as exciting as to hang out with him, but hey, I have other friends too that I've been reaching out, and I realized I'm like, some of these friends that I feel it feels good that they're respectful of my time and stuff. So so I don't know if you're doing any of that stuff where like you're setting parameters, rules for yourself for engagement with toxic friends that you care about.
I don't like. I find that like when people are in my FI, I'm like a complete pushover for them.
Right.
I do. I find like in the moment, I'm more like I set boundaries, but like small ones, just quite frequently. Like with my friend who stays for too long, I would just say to her, like, yeah, you're staying for too long, you just have to go now, like, or like you're outstaying your welcome. So but like I kind of it takes me a long time. Like I don't think I've ever really cut anyone out of my life for a significant amount of time. I've just kind of said to them, like, I think they just can tell that like I'm not having their bullshit anymore, really. And so they kind of do it themselves. You know what I mean? Because when you're around someone toxic and you start calling them out, like they can see that you can see them, and then they know that they'd rather be with someone that's going to accept them more. And I've had to do this with like family members, kind of distance myself, not completely cut myself out, but like distance myself, definitely.
Right.
But yeah, it's like if someone's in my FI, I feel like they can really like go very far, and that is a big problem for me, to just like stand on my subjective kind of reasons for them. You know what I mean? Like I will always justify in my head, like, oh, they're not so bad because they did X, Y, Z for me. The X, Y, Z, like I can stay in this job because of X, Y, Z, even though I hate it. I'm going to stay in this job for longer and longer and longer. And then I have one good day, I'm going to stay in this job for longer. So it is hard for me to like make that kind of FI change eventually. I find it's more of like a gradual distancing, more than like a, you know what I mean? Like wall.
I see.
But yeah, I definitely do put like boundaries. Like I don't know, it's just like, it's like the Fairsies thing. Like if I think it's not even like the boundaries I put like often are not even for me. I'm just like looking outside of myself, and like, you as a person should not be doing this to another person, because it's wrong because of XYZ, you know, like if you take from someone, I know psychologically that's bad because taking from someone is bad for their mentality, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it's so funny how like I'm just taking myself out of the equation, and like it's hard for me to just be like, you hurt me, you know.
Yeah, why are you doing that? Why are you like dancing around the information instead of like directly just telling them how you felt about the situation? Because I think that's what you really need to do at the end of the day, right? Just to directly tell them how you feel.
Yeah, yeah, it's very embarrassing for me to do that. I don't know why.
Oh, dude, I mean, I can relate. Like I've done it like a lot of times now. It's horrible. Like to like my youngest sister, for example, I think she's a consume sleep ENFP, like very energy dominant and
Yeah,
very flaky, rude with people's time as well. So
yeah, that's
and
bad.
like not no empathy as well. Like even she took a DNA test, and even her DNA test said she had low empathy. And then
What? I
yeah,
didn't even know they could do that.
yeah. So she took 23andMe and then she sent it to another company to further analyze, and it said low levels of empathy. I was like,
Oh
okay,
wow. Oh
yeah.
wow.
Which is good because in her financial life she made a lot of money from screwing
Well,
people
you
over.
know, psychopaths are often the CEOs, aren't they?
Right, exactly. But yeah, so she like one time my sister flaked and screwed me over, and then I told her how I felt about what she did, and she's like, "I'm sorry to hear that you felt that way," and I'm like, "What a what
That's
a
such a bullshit apology.
I'm like
That's like
what a fucking cunt." So I
that's
was
a
like,
narcissist apology.
so since then I blocked her and I stopped talking to her, right? And then she
Yeah.
knew I blocked her, and like she freaked out, right? and then
Oh God.
and
Oh,
then
dear.
yeah, and then like it took a year later where like me and my girlfriend got stranded in the middle of nowhere, and then she came and rescued us. But later on I realized why she was trying to repair our relationship was
Oh yeah.
because at one point she's very DI, right? She's like at one point she wants to get married. Our father already passed away, and she needs someone to walk her down the aisle, and I'm the only male in the family left, so it's like,
Oh God. Yeah, it's the 21st century. You can be walked down the aisle by a woman.
no, but she wanted like I guess a
It's
male
traditional, yeah.
figure, family member to do it, so I was like, okay, so it's still about her, like
Yeah,
so
of course, of course.
yeah.
Yeah, I was actually speaking with one of my IP friends, and I just thought it was so funny. Like I don't know, her life decisions are absolutely baffling to me. She wants to have another kid
Yeah,
with a dad that she's not even with, essentially, and her mum is like in her 70s, and she's going to end up being the second parent to this kid.
right.
And she's like, I think she's FI at the top, and I mean, I don't want to criticize the FIs at the top, but this is just a bad example of one, and she was she kind of had all these bullshit TE reasons as to why she was doing it. Oh, the dad of the dad of the dad of the kid that it wants to have a grandkid, and like she doesn't even live in the same city as this guy.
Right.
And then her mum's getting old, and she wants her to have grandkids before she's too frail. And I'm like, hey, did your mum actually tell you this? Did she actually say to you that she wants grandkids, or are you just assuming and then using this as some justification? And she's like, no. And then I was like, oh, okay, now I know why. And then she was like, so, and then I kind of broke it down and then broke her down a bit to it, and she was like, oh, I'm just doing it for me, really. That was the moral of the story.
Right,
And it was fun
exactly.
to see her actually just admit it for once, because
Yeah.
I don't know, like sometimes with the really high DIs, you can see them doing things for them, and then like you realize, but they're not saying it, but you can just tell, any, masculine, any.
It could be a blast last thing too. Like when my
True,
sister,
true.
I mean, she's admitted before that she manipulates the tribe to get her way, right? So,
Yeah.
so if she doesn't get her way, she doesn't show up, and then just like fucks everyone over, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think it's not all bad. Like, I think what I learned too during the pandemic was like, Dave and Shan talked about when you have FI or FE, you are responsible for the emotions and the feelings.
Yeah.
So like for us with Demon FI, like I started thinking like what I started doing like just the last few years now, it's like when I feel like a bad emotion, I have to let it out right away. Otherwise, I have to play hot potato with it. So like if me and my girlfriend says something to me that like upsets me, instead of like acting like passive aggressive about it or like saying something, I just like pause for a second. I'm like, I feel bad. Need to talk to her right now. So I just go up to her, tell her what she said made me feel bad. I might not know why, but I just tell her what she said made me feel bad, and then I'll process it in a moment. And then, so to my surprise, oh my god, that like resolved everything. Like it felt so uncomfortable and weird, but like, you know, our relationship has been stronger than ever, just because I went out of my way to just like get this damn, you know, and sometimes your feelings are really irrational, but who cares? You got to get the shit out, you know, because it's like fucking poison, toxic, man. Like it just,
like for me, like for a long time in my life, like my coping mechanism was like to seem like I'm unaffected by like these normal human emotions and feelings, and like that was like the way I got through a lot of things, like just being like you know, fucking alien. So it is like a very like weird thing for me to just be like, oh, I actually have an emotion. That's like, I have to tell people I have this. Oh, okay. Is that conducive to things working better? Yeah, okay. So I should probably do it. You know, it goes back to the whole NT shit, right?
Well, you'll feel better for sure. So it's not like, it's not about the other people.
I know. So I will feel better. Yes.
Yeah. The tribe might not feel better, but you feel better. And I think at the end of the day, as someone that is
once the embarrassment goes away, I'll feel better.
Yeah, there is the period. Yeah, I do admit there's gonna be the period of embarrassment. And but the cool thing about us though is we're double deciders. So after we have set our boundaries with the tribe and the tribe is now off limits for a while, we can do our own shit and it's still fine because we have, you know, we have our own thing. So with that being said, do you still have like your own passions, your own thing that you would consume by yourself that you would still enjoy without the tribe?
And that I can see like how the consume comes out in my life, and like how it's like how I'm obligated to the play, and like I'll be around people all day and I'll be doing the tribe shit, right? And then I can feel like I just have this itch that I just want to like I have this big kind of consume pile in my head is like not catered to, and it's like, especially nowadays with like YouTube and Facebook and like constant like updates, I'm like saying, oh, okay, I'm missing this video, there's more videos that I need to see building up in the background. I'm wasting all this time helping people and all that shit, and I can see that like I want to do it and I need to do that, and then I do eventually have to say, okay, I just want to watch this now. Do you mind if I just watch this? I'm always asking for permission. Do you mind? I just want to watch this, please. And then but in terms of consume, like, I'm definitely, like I said, a big film and music buff. Like I make music myself, and like that was largely because I largely got into music because I was a big music fan, like as a teenager and stuff like that. I loved the kind of, obviously, like, even though I'm like feminine sensory, double feminine, whatever, and like I still have like quite a keen ear for music, but like the music conjures up images in my head. So it's quite funny how I kind of get to that, you know what I mean? And so I was always a big fan of music as a teenager, like have a massive record collection. Like I still have an iPod because you can fit more songs on it than an iPhone, and Spotify I don't want to spend money on. And then when I was around 19, I just kind of got into like messing around on like GarageBand, and then I started building songs out of that. Then I moved on to Logic Pro, which is like the successor, the more advanced version of GarageBand, made my own music on there, and still consuming a lot of music whilst doing that. The thing is, I think maybe you can see the Demon Blast come out a bit, is that like I made like loads of music, like several albums, and I've only released one of them because I'm waiting for like the right time to release the rest of the music. And also I'm going on a lot of tangents, I know. But yeah, so that, I suppose that's where the consume comes out, like the big pile of music and in the background.
Right. Well, that's cool that you taught yourself how to do all this stuff. I think that's that's definitely a sign of high consume. The interesting thing about our types is that play and sleep, those are both decider animals, right? So it's kind of odd that even though we are both observers that our first and last animal are decider. So we have a lot of decider issues. And then we're in the middle is like the observer stuff. So we're like balanced with the observer stuff. So it's like a weird paradox. Like we're like, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're still a double decider. So like we can still eventually.
Yeah, I'm definitely a double decider. I could see that. Like,
yeah, like you would fix your people problem eventually. Like it's not like a stuck.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is the perfect transition to where you are stuck, which is SI, and but so it's controlling the physical. So I'll throw out a few examples to you, and then tell me, just give me your thoughts on them. So with SI, it's like I'll use myself as an example. So one of my biggest problem I had is money. Like I suck with money. Like I am not disciplined with controlling my finances, my SI. So let's start with that. How are you with like your finances? Are you good with like saving money, having investment, buying a property, or like all that stuff that adults should be doing?
Well, I'm okay with money. Like I think from my own subjective viewpoint, I think I'm okay with money, but like any of those kind of box ticking kind of adult things, like having your own house, I haven't actually done. Like I've never had a car. I live in London, so like I don't really need a car.
Yeah.
Buying your own house in London is like something only very rich people can actually do. So I wouldn't say I'm anywhere near doing that. I've kind of moved into a 2-bedroom flat with my friend, which is probably a step in the more adult direction. But in terms of buying my house, that is something I cannot even fathom me even being able to do ever, to be quite honest with you.
What about your own apartment?
No, we didn't buy it. We're renting.
I mean, can you see yourself buying your own apartment at one day?
Probably not until my 40s, if I'm quite honest. But like, it's actually quite normal for people in their 30s to be in flat shares in London, even the ones with relatively decent jobs. So I'm not sure my perception is right for that, that answer. In terms of organizing the center, like I'm okay. Like I said, I'm okay with money. I don't spend too much, so I know my limits in terms of money, and because I have a lot of like EP fears that I will be like, I don't want to be in a position where I don't have any money and then I have to go and live with my parents who are, control me, you know what I mean? Or like I have to be controlled in some other way. So I have that fear. So I am like quite cautious about spending too much money. In terms of like, I have kind of got more into tidying things up, and I actually get kind of anal almost about things being tidy and clean, more tidy than clean. But yeah, so I see I've gotten better in that way, but none of these things are things that come naturally to me. I mean, I'm 29 now, but like in my early 20s, oh God, oh fuck me. Like I would just like throw all of my clothes in a big pile that I would just like sift through. They would be the clothes that are on like a cycle, like they're not dirty, but they're not clean. So I just throw them on the side somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I would my room was always a tip. Like I was very reckless in a lot of ways, like not in the sensory, like I hate taking any kind of sensory risks. Like I'm not going to go snowboarding or jumping off walls or any shit like that. But just about kind of doing dumb shit that like, not many examples that kind of pisses people off a lot of the time. Like I was quite reckless in terms of like arguing and like getting like thrown out of clubs and stuff, like a typical kind of like EP kind of wild child a bit.
Yeah.
But I do think I've like kind of had a big swing where I've like gone in my early 20s. I was so crazy. Like now I really had to rein it in. And like I've been like I used to have like bright green hair, for instance, like it came out visually as well. So like, and then like I was like now I have this boring brown auburn color, like so I can get a job and stay in a job and like managers will hire me and stuff like that. And like I've been trying to be like a responsible citizen and like I'm always on time for work nearly. So I've kind of swung all the way to the other side, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I definitely, there's no way I thought I was an IJ, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's funny you talk about the clothes, because I did the same thing in my 20s too, like a shitload of clothes. I had a clubbing phase too. I went clubbing every day. So it sounds like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Sounds about right. Okay, cool, man. what about I had a question for you when it comes to what about organizing your facts? So what I now know with consume and blast for ENFPs or anyone that has our function stack is that you use NE to gather all the concepts, ideas, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to organize them into step-by-step systems. Like, you know, like for example, you're doing finance. I don't know if you heard of the book called The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, but it's one of the best finance book I've read. But I think he's an ESTJ because it's like super SD clear. Like step one, have $1,000 emergency savings. Step two, pay off your debt starting with the smallest to the biggest. Step three, have $10,000 saved up in your 6 months emergency funds. So it's like step by step by step. So like when I learned about that's how NE and SI work, I literally started taking like all the books I've read and like I now have a system for like, you know, relationships, finance, fitness. So there's always like a step by step and there's like a specific result at the end. And whatever book I finish, it has to go through like one of those funnels essentially. So have you thought of doing anything like that before where you like, yeah, you do the NE, gather all the ideas and then step by step so that you can produce a specific result at the end?
Not in as concrete terms as that, but I do find myself like I'm always devising kind of systems to like help me deal with the sensory, like to make it be less of a problem really. And I can see that like it's like an any kind of approach. Like I see all of the things can go wrong and then all of the things that go right, and then like I then go down to like how likely they are to happen and then break it down into some kind of sensory system. I'm definitely one of those people like in my job, like I said, I work in hospitality, but it's like it's like a big multi-room photography studio. So they have like I think around 20 studios with lots of people in them, and then we kind of organize the catering and then we do the bar for them. So it's like a lot of sensory that I have to do, especially if I'm doing like the food, because you know you have to be correct with the timings and make sure they get the food on time, because obviously you can't go wrong with food. If it goes cold, no one's going to eat it, right? So you have to be quite military about it. And I noticed my colleagues who like most people have better sensory than me, like they can kind of just do it naturally. But I found I have all these systems with like charts and like ticking things off and writing things down. I make my homemade charts so they like stick in my mind, and then I follow that system every day. I'm doing that part of the job. I don't know to what degree it's kind of seeped into the rest of my life, you know, outside of work. I'd have to think more about that. I don't know if I can think of any specific examples for that.
So Dave and Shan provided a lot of examples in their class on FI/SI, which is how to make your body feel better, essentially. So in that case, it's going to be the SI will be the system, the FI is the feeling that you'll get from achieving after you finish the SI. So do you have any specific, so your sleep lasts, so first question is, how good is your sleep, like physical sleep? And second one is, in terms of health, do you have like a system to take care of your body, you know, fitness wise, nutrition, you know, mental health? So let's go talk with that. Let's go with this.
My sleep, not good a lot of the time. I notice I can sleep okay. Like I've been sleeping okay the past few days, for instance, but I do find as soon as I get the littlest bit stressed, my sleep just disappears. Like I'll probably sleep 3-4 hours a night, several days in a row, and then just crash. And but on the whole, like I don't find I'm too bad with sleep if I go to sleep at the same time each night, roughly. I do kind of like, I like to wear myself out. So in terms of fitness, yeah, I do some, I've only recently got into like going to the gym and stuff like that. And I find like, I like to do like HIIT workouts because like I just like to kill myself basically. You know, I find that like works quite well in calming me down because, you know, I'm a bit too much like an Energizer bunny, and then I kind of need to knock myself out. And I think that's quite good. Like I do like, I try to do some other things like cardio and weights, and I do enjoy them, but like I don't find they have as much of an effect on my mental health, really. Like I find when I do like weights or something, like I just like, whilst I'm waiting in between sets, I start going on my phone because I just don't like waiting around too long. I'm just very antsy kind of person. For mental health, I think I learned a lot, like, because I had like quite a rough upbringing. So I went to a lot of therapists and did a lot of stuff like that. I try and like ask myself every day, like, how do I feel about this? How do I feel about what happened today? But I wouldn't say I go too deep in that, like, especially the past few weeks, because I've been quite stressed. But yeah, I think the big part is just like distancing myself from toxic people, because they would sap me. And I do find like once I'm away from them, my mental health definitely improves. I feel like I learn how to kind of survive a lot. So like now I'm trying to like learn how to like improve my life, not just live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. What about nutrition? Do you have like a system for eating
Oh, I'm
healthy
quite
stuff?
good with food. I don't eat too badly, but I don't know. Again, it's not like a concrete system. I just like, I make sure I eat like 5 a day of fruit. That's what the government recommends. Try and like make sure I have a balanced diet. You know what I mean? I don't have dessert on weekdays, for instance. I allow myself one dessert a week. Try and limit no caffeine after a certain point, but I wouldn't say there's like some stringent SI system in place as of yet.
Not yet. Okay. All right, dude. Cool. All right. I think I asked you most of the questions already. So I have 2 last questions for you then, and we will wrap this up. So first question is, can you talk about a big SI tidal wave that you've had in your life, where like you were gathering, but because there was no organizing, there's no control, like someone had to take charge of the control and controlled you. So either a thing or a person controlled you.
Okay. Probably more so when I was younger. Like I would have like when I was doing my dissertation at uni, I did an art degree. And when I was doing my art degree, like I left all of my kind of dissertation really late and last minute. And then I had to get like my dad in to like help me get it like bound, because you have to get it bound really nicely and present it really well. Like that kind of thing often happened where at the last moment I needed to get someone to literally do all of the kind of last SI things to just fix it in time for the deadline. A few other times I was rescued by my parents when I was younger for like, in terms of uni, and like not planning enough for deadlines, and not real. There was like, I have this constant fear that I'm going to like completely miss this one detail in like a contract or something, and it's going to fuck me over later. So like I often get people to like read any contract I get. I basically play energy. I bonk on other people's heads for them to like read every sensory, because I will just miss everything. I'll be too busy trying to understand every single line that I'll miss a line somewhere else, and it will fuck me over later. But I don't know if that's really over gathering, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like overgathering. It's just,
yeah, I'm trying to, I can't, I'm feminine sensory, right? It's hard for me to come up with examples.
it was a good example of you being like an irresponsible young person. So it's
of course. Yeah,
so,
I have many of those. So.
yeah. So it's still an EP, right? Like irresponsible. Yeah. Irresponsible is one of our our key traits.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
We're good fun though.
Oh yeah. That's our superpower. It's like, well, in general, we're the fun person in the group. We're like, no one was ever gonna say, oh, you're the boring person in the group. Like that's never gonna happen.
That's never happened to me ever.
No. Okay, so no example for that, but that's okay. At least
sorry.
But you had a good example.
Sensory here for examples. I probably have them. I probably remember them when I go to bed, not now.
I mean, I mean, in a way, it kind of makes sense. It's like, if you're an EP, then people will either control you for overgathering or being irresponsible. So for you, it's more the irresponsible side than the overgathering. So
yeah, yeah. I think it's because it's conceptual gathering, that like it's hard to like put it in words, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I could see if you're SE, right? Like you would be overgathering like things maybe, and then your house would be a mess, and then you would cause like an avalanche of shit on you or something. You know what I mean? Like
that makes sense.
Yeah. Hoarding or something. But like because it's conceptual, it's harder to put your finger on like how you've actually overgathered concepts. I think maybe sometimes I just kind of get like quite overwhelmed by like there are so many different ways I can like do something. Like I get in this kind of analysis paralysis where like I don't actually know which route is the best to take,
right.
that kind of thing. And I think that happens a lot. So maybe in terms of that, I could say with my music, like I'm over analyzing what is the next step to take in terms of releasing it, because I released one album and I left the record label, and that was like 7 years ago, I think. And I haven't done anything musically since.
Yeah.
So like that was like my plan A in life. And like now, because I haven't really pursued my plan A, I'm kind of like doing my plan C, which is hospitality.
Right.
Because I haven't built on the plan A, because I'm over analyzing how to go about kind of like releasing my music. I'm over analyzing how to like sell myself. That's a big problem, especially if you're Demon SF, like what the packaging is like.
Right.
Not the physical, not the look, not the album cover and artwork. Like that I'm good at, like being visually minded. That's fine. But like the kind of marketing side of like how I'm gonna market me and my music. Like I'm not good with Instagram. I'm not good with like, I don't want to put fucking pictures of my dinner in the hopes that someone's going to listen to my music, on Instagram. So I don't know what to do in that regard. And I'm over analyzing it. As a result, I'm still working in hospitality, which is not my passion. You know what I mean?
Right. Just a few thoughts on what you said. First one is I relate a lot to getting stuck in your like plan C, essentially, because
Yes.
you're doing hospitality and I'm not doing anything too different. I work in the fitness industry, so I've been doing it for 8 years now.
At least that's good for you.
What's that?
At least that's good for you. I mean, you get a free gym, right? And you learn all the ropes.
Yeah. I mean, from a learning
perspective, kills you.
Yeah, no, it's good because like I know how to take care of my health. So there's that lifelong benefit for sure. I've worked there for so long that I got to a point where I didn't even realize like I'm a supervisor of fitness leaders now. Like, so if people want to be a personal trainer, I can mark your exam and I can do the SI paperwork. So it's freaking weird. I'm like, I don't even know how I end up here. But it's like it's weird though, because with that SI last, it feels like being responsible for your passion is also part of that. Like you almost like put a backseat to it, so you know what it is, you're aware of it, but you don't. Like if you were like a pure DI, you would be like, fuck you all, I'm just gonna go work on this.
Yeah, like
my dream. But it's so hard because double activated play, right? So the moment someone like pinks off you, you're like, oh, it's like destroyed, like the focus is gone, right? So
of course. Yeah, like it's very, for me, probably one of my largest problems is that I don't know how to plan for my own life trajectory. I don't know how to plan for me to build my goals to what they should be.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking about it.
That is Si+Fi, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but like in terms of following your own passion and stuff, and the play, so those two are like contradictory almost. Like but with a play, maybe the best thing to do is like to schedule them all like within a 3-day time frame, where like you go all out like playing with people, where you burn out, and then the next few days then you can just do your own stuff, your passion, your craft, your art. So I don't know if like you've ever tried that. If you've ever
don't get the savior high though, don't you?
What's
that?
You know
what I mean? The savior high. You don't get it doing these things.
Well, I mean, you would. Well, I mean,
I know it feels good later, but like doing your demons never feels good in the moment, I find.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. So you don't get like the dopamine high from
no.
but it's a dirty high, man. It's like eating McDonald's, like
Yeah,
it's
true,
freaking
true.
dirty. Like yeah, but don't taste so good, right? And afterwards, the next few hours you feel like garbage, right?
Yeah, I
So
mean, in my job, like it's a lot of play energy. Like I'm around people all day,
yeah,
and it's like when I feel like good in the moment when when everything runs like a well-oiled machine. I'm like, oh, that feels so good. But then I get like on my way home, I'm just like, oh fuck, I feel absolutely exhausted.
yeah,
But I don't have the energy to do my demons because I feel like so exhausted that I've been doing too much of my saviors all day.
right.
It's like pulling teeth to now do, you know, organizing my what I want to do with my life. So I find I can't do it. I really struggle with doing it on the weekdays. Like I have to do it on the weekends. Like I need to have a lie in, wake up, like maybe have a coffee, go to a coffee shop, work on my music or something, like take it slow because otherwise it doesn't give me the dopamine hit and I just don't want to do it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I get it. It's
I
hard.
find like I'm always like processing like in between these kind of like play energy or even blasting kind of jobs that I do. Like on the way from one place to another is like the only time I process. And then like at the end of the day, I'm like in bed, like, what have I done? I've done this all day. Like I've done this all day. And there's this huge thing that I need to do with my life. And it's just like lying there, like rotting, and I'm just ignoring it. You know what I mean?
No,
I know I'm being very negative. I'm sorry. I don't
no,
want to.
no, it's okay. I mean, you're not being negative.
I'm being honest.
No. If anything, I understand your pain. Like everything you said, like I thought about it from my own life, and I'm like, fuck, I do a lot of stuff that you said, right? But like, I think for me, one of the rude awakening was the pandemic because I got laid off and I started getting government money to not to be rich or anything, but enough to pay rent and food, right? So
Yeah, I got the same.
right,
Yeah.
but so when that happened, I tried to go all in the demon, which is to work on my.
Yeah.
I have 2 YouTube channels, right? So I went all in for like 1 year. Then I burnt out after a year, and I'm like, okay, so that's not sustainable because without the play, there's no fuel to like keep you sane. You kind of start going
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then at the same time, like for me, I'm like, okay, I cannot. I'm not those people where I can work all day on my thing. Like I cannot do it.
No.
I
No.
try. I did it for 1 year. I managed to do it for 1 year, but I completely shut down after 1 year. So it's not sustainable. So what I realized is that I guess for our type with high play, for me, I felt like having a job plus doing my passion on the side was the better balance because then I can do the play with like my day job, but then on the side, I after I finish work, I think, okay, I hate my, I there's a lot of people that I deal with are idiots. I don't want to do
Oh
this
yeah.
stuff at work. So it gives you like that pain to motivate you to work on your passion instead.
Mhm.
It's like if during the pandemic there was no pain, right? It was kind of comfortable actually, because you got free money from the government, or not really free money,
Yes. Yeah.
employment insurance, I guess you could say.
Sure,
But
sure. Yeah, yeah. I during the pandemic, I was furloughed for a long, long time, longer than anyone I've ever heard of. And I did so many kind of like annoying SI things. Like I organized all of my documents because they used to be like thrown in a drawer, no order to them. And I put them in all these nice folders so like I can just pull them out now, and it's like heaven, right? And like I did a lot of small things like that, and it's like, and a lot of people are asking me like, what did you do during this time you're furloughed? And it's like there's so many boring small SI things that like I in my job there's like those VPs, so they're like, if I tell them this shit, they're gonna be like blank look on their face. But like so many of these small annoying SI things I did, like I got organized all my passwords for all of my all of the websites I frequent, have them all written down. I have a system for them and stuff like that, and I created, and it was very satisfying, I suppose. Not the dopamine kind of satisfying, but just like I would go to bed and be like, this is good. I've actually done something that will help me rather than just run around like a headless chicken, like helping people and like doing the play energy, that kind of thing. So I do agree that it gave me that opportunity to work on the SI a bit more, but I still long way to go, right?
yeah, I mean, I don't know what word to use for that feeling that you just said, where you finally work in your SI because you had the time to work on it, but it's
Yeah.
not like a dopamine high. Like
No,
you felt good, but it's not a dopamine high. So what is it then? I'm
it's like contentment, maybe.
yeah, it's
Is that a word? I don't know if that's a word. You have masculine SI, maybe you can help.
contentment makes sense. Like you feel satisfied, but you don't feel high. So
Yes,
it's
yeah.
like it's like
It's like,
you don't feel down, but you don't feel high. You
mhm,
feel satisfied, which is
yes,
kind of
yeah,
boring. You know, it's
yeah, yeah.
boring but satisfying at the same time. It's weird. Maybe oh, I get it now. I see what's happening. I see
What?
what's happening. Okay, it took us out of our homeostasis. So
Oh, yeah. Oh, nice word. Yeah.
because our homeostasis is high dopamine, high excitement. And
Yes.
when you're doing that as I shit, or you're doing like what you're supposed to do that's right,
Yeah.
but it could be boring, it's satisfying and it makes you feel stable.
Yeah. It
But
makes you feel more balanced.
yeah, you
Like,
feel balanced. But balance is not our homeostasis because
no.
we're EPs. EPs are not in that
And
middle.
double extroverted. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. So
you're
that's not
not naturally balanced, basically.
yeah, not
You know?
exactly. So it's so when you're in the balance state, it now feels weird because that's not the norm, you know. It's like I don't know if you've I have a I used to have a coworker in the gym, and she's like one of those girls that looks like an Instagram model look girl. So she's
Yeah.
like very chaotic. She's probably an ESFP, always partying and shit. Has
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
kids with like multiple fathers and stuff, and you know, and like yeah, you know, whatever. She's just pure chaos, right? And
Oh, God.
but I do talk to her. She's not stupid. When I talk to her, she can tell you exactly. She knows exactly what she's doing. You know, she
Oh,
doesn't.
yeah, yeah.
She just doesn't plan.
Yeah, yeah, that's something I realized that not every. I used to dismiss people about being stupid so quick, but like,
No,
especially if they're really SF, you know.
yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't dismiss her that way. I talked to her at work, and then she's like, what did she say to me? So she's always like craving drama and shit. Like her life is like the biggest chaos drama bullshit there is, right? She has kids with other like different dads, and you know,
Yeah,
like different like yeah, and like you know, gets in trouble with authority all the time, and just crazy to the hell, right? Breaks all the rules. So I went up to her. I'm like, do you you know, I went up to her. I'm like, you know what? I understand you. I said to her, I'm like, I feel like you would feel weird without the drama. And she's like, yes. So that's right.
yeah.
And it's like you're always dating abusive guys because
Oh no, that's bad.
the drama and the excitement of that where
Mhm.
is what you want, and that's what feels good for you. She's like, yes, that's what feels normal for me. So she told me about her life, like growing up in like a volatile childhood and stuff, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what felt that's her homeostasis, right? So
yeah,
you
yeah.
took her if you take her out and have like a stable job, be normal, that it feels weird, right? You know, it's like an IJ. You start giving them pumping them with a lot of excitement, right? Like they like it, but like, oh, too much like
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what to do with this. It's too much.
it's foreign. So I guess that's what we're feeling then is like we're outside the
Yeah.
homeostasis and we're not going batshit crazy. So it's like, I need to feel normal, need to do something crazy to feel normal
Yeah,
for a bit.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like I don't know if you ever feel that, like you just need like a hit of like
I used to
adrenaline.
actually, it's kind of weird though, because I used to really want to be like very like boring. I used to have this weird like desire to be very boring because I
Yeah,
feel like naturally I just kind of like, especially like socially, like I often, if I'm in a new group, like I often quickly get designated as the group's entertainment without realizing because I'm just like, I don't know, just saying stupid shit, like off the wall shit and like being sassy and shit like that. And everyone's like now like laughing at me like I'm the clown. And like I kind of like the idea of kind of being very humdrum and like doing boring job and just like everything being very predictable. It was like
yeah,
this complete like swing to the other side, like the kind of cliche ISTJ kind of personality. And like I actually really liked the thought of being like that.
yeah.
But I feel like I'm now a bit more like I've kind of accepted who I actually am, a bit more like I'm not like that. So I can take a bit of that and I can maybe be a bit more like that, but I'm never going to be that like straight edged naturally. And I probably, if I was in that situation, I would want to explode and like, I don't know, do something. It would drive me insane if I was actually there. So I try and just take a little part from there, little patch, and apply it to my life, but not swing seriously to the other side, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you still have to do all that crazy shit just to be normal, but I think you can balance it now. Like you can schedule it in like the crazy time versus like normal time. We kind of went off tangent here, being two EPs. So I'm gonna ask you the last question now. That the second to the last question took so long. So last question, man. So it's good I can ask you this question because we're similar types, so you can probably see what I'm seeing here. So I want to see if you're seeing this. So because you're a DE, you're like an EP DE or EPEJ is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You can see the tribe spectrum. And how do you feel where there is a tribe spectrum and there's certain friends of yours that you value higher and you love spending time with these friends, but these friends don't reciprocate back to you and they make you feel like you're lower in the spectrum for them, you know? So in that case, if you're trying to make a schedule for them, they wouldn't care to cancel out on you last minute because they just think you're always available, so they don't really give a shit, you know? But for you, you're always available for them because you like that person and you like to spend time with that person. And now you're stuck in this weird, like, toxic limbo where they can just take the carrot and you're always gonna chase after the carrot, you know? Like what?
I honestly, I wouldn't say I've ever experienced that. Something I'm quite lucky is that I've always had like quite a good pick of friends. Like as a kid, like I was a complete loner, mostly because of like, I wasn't going to play the game really. And like, so I kind of like, I couldn't find good friends, so I just didn't have any.
Right.
So by the time I got older, like I kind of already knew, I felt like I can read people's character pretty quickly. And like, if they're kind of like taking the piss or something, I just won't stand for it too long. So I don't really think that's ever been a problem for me, if I'm honest, Kendrick. But no, like I don't know, I've always been a bit it goes back to the thing, I just don't think like people should treat people badly. So I'm just like, I'm not even going to be standing up for me. If I see someone doing it to someone else, I'll be just as outspoken as I would be for me, you know what I mean? So
right.
I don't think I've been like, I've had friends that I've put on a pedestal too much, also because it's like the NE kind of thing. I can just see like the whole, like I won't put them on a pedestal because I was always like interested in like music and like cool people like who make music and are in bands, and I'd be like, okay, you may be cool in this dumb social situation, but you're not as cool as so and so, so I'm not going to look up to you, I look up to them, you know what I mean?
I feel like that's because you have the NIFI second, like you just did.
You mean NE?
sorry, my bad. NEFI, yeah, the consume second. Because you just did your own thing, like you weren't like you are double activated TE, but it's not like together, it's like there's a space in between. So
yes, I saw like I would be like what was I going to say? I saw, oh god, I completely forgot what I was going to say, sorry, it might come back to me, but
well, I mean, I was just thinking about what you said too, is like you were a loner when you were younger, so a lot of your friends were like when you were in your 20s, I guess. Because
yes, I made so many friends when I went to my like art foundation. That's where I just like I just seem to make so many friends, and like good friends that I'm still friends with now.
Yeah.
Because like I was always like a weird kind of art school kid. So what
happened in high school? How come you didn't like why you didn't connect with as many people like you did when you went to art school?
Well, the thing is, I had quite a chaotic kind of school thing. Like I went to a normal primary school, and then I went to a secondary school, and then I kind of refused to go, basically, because like I ran away from home, and then my parents begged for me to come back, and then I didn't go to school for a few years. I was homeschooled.
So
like being in like a, you know, like I had these tutors that would come around, like homeschool me, like those would be the only people I'd really see a week apart from my family, and I would just like annoy the shit out of them with the play energy, like and then I would like then I went to like sixth form, which is like where you go when you're 16 to 18 in the UK. I went there like as normal, and then that went to shit because I got bullied quite badly.
Oh shit.
And yeah, I got bullied a lot as well, like for a variety of reasons. And so that kind of like made me like, I kind of had to deal with being an outsider even if I didn't want to. But I did notice, like, it's funny because I was like such a loner, but like as soon as I'd be friends with someone, it's like, like I seemed so like introverted. And then like as soon as someone would talk to me, it's like, I would just like take over the conversation so quickly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, it's like once they let me in a bit, I was like, oh, green light, let's go.
Yeah, that's so funny.
And then I left sixth form. I didn't complete sixth form. I went back to being homeschooled.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's why I probably never built any friendships. Like I probably have two real friends from that whole school situation, and they were both like real mopes, as you can imagine.
Yeah. Well, that would make sense if you made friends with mopes if you are extroverted, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think also earlier when I mentioned my experience with you and see if you felt something similar, I think it's because you didn't have that full high school experience.
Yes, yeah.
So because for me, that's where I felt it. It's like from that high school and my family as well. And it wasn't until like I was later when I was older when I realized, oh my God, this is happening. So I just like shut that down and went the other way. But it's interesting though, like your experience when you said when you went to college, that's when you became like the life of the party. Essentially, you meet tons of friends.
Yeah, and then I went too far. That's where the reckless thing came for. It's like I had found my tribe almost, and then like I would like, I don't know, like I would go out and like there would be loads of problems all the time, like I don't, and then that's where I'd get like into trouble, you know.
You know what, man? It is a superpower with that high play, because I don't know if you noticed, but if you go to post-secondary, like you go to like college or university or whatever, there are a lot of people that are loners that have trouble making friends outside our high school group, you know, because they don't know how to start from scratch and like build such social connection. For me, I like with the high play, I got lucky when I went to college. I started making friends really quickly, and I started throwing house parties and shit. Like I had an SF phase.
Wow.
Yeah, like
I couldn't do a house party. Oh God, I wouldn't do a house party. I couldn't bear people like messing everything up. Oh, that would be too much observer hell for me.
You know what? But for some reason I didn't think about that. The observer problems when I had
that's something I've always thought. Anyone has a house party, I'm like, I feel sorry for you if this is your house. Yeah, drunk people, they always fuck shit up.
Well, okay, so in my house party, it's not that people fuck shit up, but one time we had a fire truck come to our house and an ambulance because someone drank too much and some stupid girl fucking called the ambulance.
I've been that person.
You were the person in the ambulance?
I have had an ambulance called on me, yeah. I was once like, oh God, this is so embarrassing, but I was once like, I kind of like reveled in being the crazy one, and like I was like chugging down vodka, like gulping it down at one
Jesus
point.
Fucking Christ.
I then went into like, I remember someone started talking to me and I was just like, I just have to go to the toilet. I ran to the toilet. I was vomiting up there. There was like a whole puddle. I filled the sink up, the toilet up. It was like a puddle all over the floor. I was in my own vomit. Someone was filming it for YouTube, I think. It gone viral somewhere. And then my friends called an ambulance on me. Yeah, because they were so worried I wouldn't stop vomiting. Yeah, and that was like a wake up call. But even then, I kind of did something similar later. Like I did it again, but I didn't go in the ambulance this time. It was a bit better, right? Not in the ambulance.
Okay, I can relate to the whole vomiting thing because I've been to a few toilets as well, but I've never been. I'm not as extreme as you. I was never in the ambulance. So.
Yeah, I'm very extreme. That's the thing. There was a time when I was like barred from like 3 clubs at the same time because I'm not joking. And like my friends were just like, "Oh, you got into another fight again." Oh, it's just a mess, basically. So now,
at least you went through your SF phase also.
Is that SF? Is that SF causing a nuisance?
Well, I mean, SF is like doing dumb shit that is fun and cool, but you know, it's like not logical, obviously.
It went quite dark sometimes. I'm not sure it's too fun.
I mean, SF is attention, so it doesn't have to be fun. It could just be something that
Sure.
it's just a truckload of mess, right? So
yeah, that it was.
Yeah, cool, man. That's interesting. All right, man. We're done with the interview. Thanks for coming out.
Finishing on vomit.
Yeah, finishing on vomit. Perfect time to finish on the interview. This is all people are gonna remember you for now. Is Edwin, the guy who vomited and was put in an ambulance? Just kidding.
The vomit swimmer.
Yeah, the vomit swimmer. Yeah. All right, dude. So yeah, thanks again for coming out and doing this interview and sharing that NETE bouncing off each other. That was fun. All right, man. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
See you.